million names of pod.
From Atlanta,
where Republican lawmakers must first possess a heart before they can detect a heartbeat.
it's the 9 billion names of pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I am Jack's blistering rage.
So let's talk about some stuff.
Annoyed grunt.
Yeah, some awful shit is going down in Georgia again because this is where we live, and god damn it, that's where.
Because Stacey Abrams is not our governor. We are probably going to have a good old boy who wants to get a truck to take illegals back to Mexico himself. Like that would ever happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I would pay good money for someone who is illegal, say, all right, I'll give $10,000 to your family. Go up to Brian Kemp's truck and say, I am ready to be taken back to Mexico. There is no chance he's going to do it.
No.
Because that's all bluster and bullshit.
Well, yeah.
So apparently the bill is, as soon as a fetal heartbeat can be detected, a woman is banned from having control over her body, whether to choose to have an abortion or not.
Yes.
And that usually comes around, I believe, about 6 weeks. And at 6 weeks, most women don't even know that they're pregnant.
Right.
You know, I mean, perhaps the ones whose, shall we say, monthly visitor is very, very, punctual, perhaps. But, usually you wait a little bit. And so this will obviously be challenged. There's going to be some attempts at some boycotts, which is going to perhaps dampen participation by Hollywood in the film industry here. I mean, if it wasn't the tax breaks for productions, it was going to be some other social bullshit that's going to enrage, Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it's like Georgia just can't help but to open its mouth and fit a shotgun and their foot in it at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see how that goes, but this is what happens when a good old boy gets in there with his pickup truck and shooting Obamacare and taking illegals back to the border.
I've always said the only really bad thing about Atlanta is its proximity to Georgia.
Yeah. It's a sea of blue in a crimson soup of bullshit with little touch of Athens, maybe a little Savannah, stuff like that. But but basically it's but considering that Stacey Abrams lost very narrowly and with a whole bunch of shenanigans.
Yes, he cheated in every possible way you can cheat and still only quote unquote won by like 20,000 votes or something like that. So that's really
and that's
good.
In a non-presidential year.
Yeah.
Anyone who's up now, of course, Kemp won't be up in 2020.
No.
But any Democrat running in 2020 is in good shape. By and large, because in a presidential year, turnout is almost always far higher.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people like, yes, I vote in everything. Well, I vote for president. There's elections every 2 years, if not more often.
Yeah.
Not every 4 years. Huh?
And 2020 will most definitely be a record breaker for turnout.
Oh,
voting,
absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Because it was a high turnout without Trump on the ballot.
Yeah.
With him on the ballot, let me tell you, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I may try to Dr. Manhattan myself and vote in all 50 states if I fucking can. But I won't, because that's wrong
and illegal.
And that's what
we're accused of all the time anyway.
Illegal voting, like one man, one vote. Yeah. Well, but
let's split up the district so all those votes don't count. All right, we got to not go down this road.
Let's not go. Well, as long as we're in political mode,
okay.
we'll get out of it in a moment.
Yep.
A little something happened about a week ago. We were off last week, but this the Mueller report was turned in.
Yes.
But we have nothing about it except a 4-page summary of principal conclusions, which is
done by the guy who was installed by Trump. To say that
and who got the job by saying what a piece of bullshit the Mueller investigation was to begin with.
Yes.
Trump went,
That's the guy.
I can't do a Trump.
No, please don't.
Yes, yeah. So now we're coming down to a April 2nd, thank God not April 1st, deadline by Congress to say, yeah, that's lovely. The report, please.
Yes, the unredacted report would be nice.
Exactly. And there's precedent for that. You know, even though it can't be released to the public unredacted, intelligence, the intelligence committee and stuff, they get to see classified shit all the time.
Well, yeah.
So it's probably going to go to the courts.
Oh, it has to. Yeah.
Because, you know, most people want everything, bar just... I don't want to die. My head hurts from politics.
Right.
But basically, watch this space, as Rachel Maddow would say. It's, you know, there's going to be some fights. I just don't want the Democrats to be too eager. I mean, he can turn it over in proper course, but don't, you know.
Yeah, don't fuck it up like you're going to.
Don't go crazy.
What's been funny is that it's the conclusion, there's been no collusion, this and that. It's like, well, yeah, the report was about obstruction of justice. So...
No. It was about collusion.
Was it?
It was about, conspiracy.
Okay.
It was about conspiracy. Basically, it was what happened, what did the Russians do, and how was Trump...
was
the
he
Trump
aware
campaign involved? What did the president know, and when did he know it, and did he actively pass it? You know, all this other stuff. And the principal conclusion that came out was, one, that there is no chargeable offense called collusion. It's conspiracy. And Mueller said, I don't have enough to indict.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you've got a glass that is 9/10 full, that other 10th gets you to an indictment. There's a whole lot in that fucking glass.
Yeah.
You just don't. You just don't have it up to the top to go. Bing! It's indictment time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's scaring the crap out of Republicans, the White House, the AG's office, because
even Barr said it does not exonerate
on obstruction.
Yeah.
He says, you know, there's no indictment. Because the judiciary, what is Barr head?
Attorney General, isn't he?
It's Justice Department. Thank you. I knew it was a J word. The Justice Department has a standing policy, just something they came up with. Nothing that's enshrined in any law anywhere, that you cannot indict a sitting president. Mm-hmm. So the option was to indict under seal and have it unsealed when he leaves office, or to not indict at all.
Right.
And apparently what's come out of that is that there is no sealed indictment, but he's going to lay out what he found. And again, 9/10 of a glass doesn't get you to an indictment, but there's a whole lot of stuff in there that really stinks. Probably. Like I said, I haven't read the report. Nobody has.
Right. There's no way that a 2-year investigation and a 400-page report.
Anywhere between 300 and 700 pages.
Right.
Hundreds of subpoenas and prosecutions and indictments of other people. You know, if basically every member of the Justice League except Superman gets indicted, but Superman skates, does that mean that he's clean?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times the mob boss doesn't get hit for the low-level hits and drug dealing and racketeering.
And as we've seen, there have been many, many scapegoats already.
Oh,
yeah, many fall guys.
Of course. So it's, drain the swamp. No, let's get the swamp more potent, more full, more
concentrated,
more pungent. Let's do that. So we shall see. I mean, this doesn't, change anything. Although Chris Ledford, a former guest on this podcast, did come up with a great little comment the day the the 4-page summary of principal findings was released, he said, "Wow, guess it turns out Trump's a terrific guy." I was like, "Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah." So there's no, he's not being led away from, 1600 in cuffs. So obviously he's a hell of a guy.
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Barr took that entire 48 hours to read the 700-page report and come up with his findings.
I know. Oh, and well, 300 to 700 pages, not including appendices.
Right.
So it could be 2,000 pages. The way it's structured, I mean, if Mueller is a decent sort of chap, and if it's policy, Justice Department policy, the report itself should be completely readable by anybody. And at a certain point, see appendices, 27E, and that goes to one that is either classified or unclassified. So you can get the whole report, but the underlying information, that's where you got to be careful with.
Got it.
So anyway, it's all going to come out mostly eventually with fights or whatever. So let's talk about something else. Let's talk about music. We don't talk about music that often.
Okay.
I have recently discovered an artist who I think is probably the queen of the 3.5 minute pop song right now.
Okay.
Sigrid.
Okay. Not
Sigrid.
All right.
She's out of Norway.
Okay.
22 years old. Killing it. Killing it. She's already huge in England. She's going to be on tour in the fall here. She's going to be touring on some dates with Maroon 5.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Maroon 5 has some catchy pop tunes. They're about as deep as a puddle, but
the example you can always go back to is Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees.
Exactly.
So don't worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's boy, I'd like to know the promoter who decided to put that bill together.
It was probably Don Kirshner coming.
Yeah, you know what?
He did come up with all that music.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was in control of the Monkees that doing that stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, by the way, we lost Peter Tork.
We did a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
So we're down to two Monkees now.
Yeah, Mickey Dolenz, who I ironically share a birthday with.
Yes.
March 8th is
that's
my...
right.
Yes.
It's I thought no, there's
Mike Nesmith is the other.
Mike Nesmith is the other living.
Right.
And so Nesmith is the one that was like, all right, I'll do some monkey stuff.
Yep.
Whereas Tork and Dolenz were there at the very end when they had an album called Changes with just 2 monkeys.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're really going for it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, you do what you got to do.
It wasn't a good record. I mean, the Monkees had a couple of really good pop records.
Well, they did an album like last year, I believe.
Yeah, I think
with like Rivers Cuomo produced it.
Yeah,
and I heard some of it. It was really good.
And Nesmith was on it.
Yeah. He's been touring with them again, like him and Tork. And
has he been touring?
Yeah, they've been. Well, I don't know about touring, but they've been playing shows.
I mean, there's some dates like
playing in Vegas.
When you come anywhere within 200 miles of L.A., I'll play with you guys, whatever. But he's very rich. His mother invented whiteout.
Right.
So he's doing fine. This was never about money for him, which is good.
And he's not as like anti against the whole thing anymore as
in the 80s when MTV started showing the Monkees TV show again and Monkey Mania came right back. I was in the full force with it. He didn't participate in anything except a Christmas video. I can't remember what the name of the Christmas video was that had Santa going around doing stuff, with the monkeys. And at the very end, Santa takes off his hat and beard, and it's Mike Nesmith. So my guess is that an extra did all that other stuff. They said, Mike, come in here for this literally like 30 seconds at the end. And there we are.
Yeah.
So good for him. I think this probably puts an end to all monkey stuff.
Probably. I mean,
yeah,
most likely.
I mean, Mickey Dolenz, yes, he sang on most.
Will probably
half the hits. I mean,
it was him and Davy Jones.
Davy did, Daydream Believer. That's not Dolenz. That's
right. But I mean, he, I'm a Believer was Mickey Dolenz. He did a good bunch, a good share of the lead vocals on
yeah.
the stuff.
So-
I would assume that he would be he'll probably be the one still touring,
but
playing.
not as
Monkeys.
the Monkeys.
Well, Mickey Dolenz of the Monkeys.
Mickey
playing
Dolenz
Monkeys.
plays an evening of Monkeys.
Yeah, that's
music.
probably it'll be something like that. Which is
that's
fine.
If you know what, if people are willing to come see him, why not?
Yep.
And let's face it, how many acts are still around in any form that have an original member from the 60s? Not many.
Not many.
Not too many.
know.
And this fall, not the Rolling Stones, because Mick Jagger's been sidelined by his doctors
Really?
for some mysterious health issue. So the Stones tour is off for the fall.
Oh,
Doesn't
I
mean
didn't hear
he
that.
said, I look forward to being back on the road. And I went, you know what? How old is he? And I looked it up. He's 75.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his concert antics, even when he was in his 50s, were like, "Whew, dude,
Yeah,
you must
he's in remarkable shape
Oh.
for a 75-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
So,
but still, he's
which is why he has 8 children.
right.
I mean, because he be fucking.
Yeah.
So, but how irresponsible is it to have a child in your 70s?
Not much.
I mean, your child is going to lose their father at an unnatural age.
Oh yes.
So,
Yes.
Anyway,
Well, speaking of music,
Yeah.
just this week, I attended the Muse concert here in Atlanta.
yeah, what's the deal with Muse? I know they're massive in Europe, and someone told me a couple of years ago that, they're coming. I'm like, oh, where they're playing? Thinking Tabernacle. Oh, no, they're playing like arenas.
They played Phillips Arena.
Here.
They did, yeah.
I mean, here.
Here, yeah.
That's one that has flown completely under the radar for me.
Okay. First of all, one of the better light shows and spectacle
Is this the
concerts
one
I've
with
seen.
the figure kind of over them?
Yes,
I saw a
Yes.
photo of it.
Yeah, that was just one of the things. I mean, they all what they were wearing had LEDs all over them.
Nice.
Their music is kind of there's only technically 3 of them. It's a very Rush setup.
But they fill it out on
They
tour.
fill it out. Well, they fill out. They have one other guy, but I mean, it's all what they use now.
Don't they have 4 people? Don't disregard the 4th guy.
I'm not, but I mean,
He's
the band
doing
is
things.
the band. That's the utility guy, just like
Well,
Green Day has a guy. And,
Right. Well,
So
there-
yes,
there's
they
the
played
band
4.
that's in the studio.
Right.
And then when they go on tour, like, hey, remember when we double tracked and did that? We can't do that live without another person. They bring in another person.
Everything now is done through, like, all the instruments and stuff are done through these what they call fractal units, which is where you can have your guitar sound exactly like it was on the record and have all this other stuff going on. So
See, I don't like that.
it fit.
I mean, I want the show to sound good.
Right.
I don't want it to sound like someone, plugged in an amp in front of a speaker and went, all right, let's do this. But I don't want to go to a concert and listen to the record.
It was almost more of like a theatrical piece because they did perform and they sang.
I mean, says the guy that went and saw Roger Waters 3 times and The Dark Side and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like, oh, no, that's not like their album, So
yeah, it's yes, I can see both sides of that. I agree. I liked going to see bands I liked and seeing them change things up, playing it in a different
Exactly.
style, playing it in a different, idea.
Joe Jackson takes some hits and turns them into piano ballads.
Oh yeah.
I personally think that sucks, but I appreciate. I
I like when they do stuff like that.
Right,
I
exactly.
But this was more. Their music is this weird. It sounds like all the music sounds like the soundtrack to a John Carpenter movie in a way. It's all this weird futuristic like. It's good. It's like rock music. Like
Right.
it's like a combination of Rush and Yes with like sound like the theme
No.
to Tron.
Have you ever
know?
heard? Have you ever listened to like Goblin or Tangerine Dream?
I've heard Tangerine Dream. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know how whiffy in the air that music is. You just
Yeah.
listen to Goblin.
I've
That's,
never even heard of.
I believe they did the original soundtrack to what's that remake of that Dario Argento film?
Suspiria?
Suspiria.
Oh.
Yeah, they did the original soundtrack to Suspiria.
Oh, okay.
Which I saw the remake recently over at Topher and Daniel's house.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a freaking movie.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
Okay.
And I had seen the original, and I wasn't very impressed with it. But the remake is done much better. It's a lot longer, and they take aspects of some of the sequels that were done back then to incorporate it into this remake. So it's good. It's a good.
Okay.
It's a fun. Well, I wouldn't say fun. It's a weird little film.
I've never seen Suspiria. I had my old roommate. He was into all those kind of weird, Dario Argento horror movies.
Talk
and
to
stuff
Daniel.
Like that.
He knows.
Oh,
all
yeah,
that
I know
stuff.
that.
He
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
king of that.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I know. He was on here talking about it.
That's right.
But I've never. So that's not one on my radar really.
Yeah, I would not place it upon your radar.
Yeah,
I'd say if you
it's
come
not
across it, if you have, you're like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
All right. One thing that should definitely be on your radar, kind of, if you want to be confused but entertained. I recently watched season 2 of Netflix's The OA.
Okay, what the hell is that? Because I've heard all about it. Like, I heard people talking about it, and I was like, I don't even know what this is.
It's science fiction for Twyla Tharp fans. Twyla Tharp does interpretive dance.
I know that. I was trying to somehow picture that in my head.
Basically, the vague concept of season 1, as I recall, a woman who's been gone for 7 years suddenly appears again. It shows up at her house.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she was blind when she disappeared, now she can see.
Okay.
And she has a tale about having been kept captive underground and repeatedly killed and resuscitated to induce near-death experiences by a guy named Hap. It was her and I believe 4 other people in this underground plexiglass terrarium with a stream running through it where you got your water and you released your water. It's a weird freaking thing. And over the course of their imprisonment, they somehow come up with these movements that apparently allow you to transport yourself to an alternate dimension.
Okay.
I know. I still, as I was watching season 2, going, yeah, how did they come up with it? I think I'll just move like this and maybe it'll open the door,
Okay.
And season 1 ends. No, I don't want to give anything away.
Don't spoil anything.
I don't want to spoil
just
anything.
in case.
Because it's a very entertaining watch, even though 99% of the time you're like, what? What the what? Season 2 has I can't give away season 2 without giving away season 1, so I'll just say it's very intricate. One of the aspects of season 2 is a mysterious house that has moving walls and chambers, and you have to.
Now, does this make any sense as you're watching it? Or is it just all kinds of weird and you're just kind of trying to figure out what's going on?
At the most barest level, you can okay, I see what's going on. Okay, I see what's going on. But they throw stuff at you like, what?
Okay.
What the hell is that about? And it's left. I mean, you go on YouTube and there's 300-400 OA explained videos.
Yeah.
And of course, I watched a couple of them, and they are completely different in some cases because people have their own.
So it's all fan theory stuff.
Fan theory stuff,
Okay.
exactly. And
now, is this an original property? Do you know if this is based on anything?
as far as I know, it's original.
Okay.
And
So it's not people from the saying, "Oh, well, in the comics this was this," or
right.
from the book.
And
was this.
it was co-written, co-created, and starring Britt Marling, a female. I think she's British. I don't know. And
she was in Tomorrowland, wasn't she?
I don't know. I watched that once. I thought it was,
I enjoyed that. Well, I think she was the girl from Tomorrowland, so I might be 100% wrong.
Well, this is an adult woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe she was. I
Okay.
don't know. But it's interesting. It's an interesting. I would recommend it because each season is only 8 episodes.
Okay.
And some of them are as short as 43 minutes. A couple are at an hour. So it's not a lot to get through. and I binged through season 2 in like 3 evenings,
Interesting.
and I enjoyed it. The way they ended season 2. Holy fuck! I'm very interested to see if it gets renewed.
Interesting.
I'm sure the Netflix metric is viewers, what kind of buzz people are talking, and one of them is if Netflix is looking at YouTube and explained videos, there's so many. They're like, wow, people are really talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay.
So
she's not the girl I thought who was. She was in a movie called Another Earth, which I think I saw. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, but
funny you should mention Another Earth, because that could be something that you could say is part of the OA.
Okay.
So,
because I kept saying that, and then the comic nerd in me is like, they made a show they finally made a Green Lantern show, because where the planet the Green Lanterns are all based out of is Oa. It's called OA, and it's shaped like a ring. It's kind of stupid, but that that's what they did.
You mean like the most recent film adaptation?
No, not quite that stupid.
Okay.
But.
Okay. All I'm gonna say, if you have to watch one Netflix show that has a giant octopus doing breath play with a human, this is the show to watch.
All right. Okay.
I mean, hey, if you want to watch an octopus, choke out a person in a theater.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it goes there, man. It goes.
Wow.
You're like, what? Huh? Yeah, it's all kinds of crazy weird.
Okay.
And it's a fascinating watch. I mean, I'd say between the 2 seasons, you're looking at roughly 14 and a half, tops 15 hours of viewing.
Okay.
So it's not that much.
Yeah.
As opposed to, so I would give it a shot.
Okay.
Going back to music for a really hot second. Have you heard of Billie Eilish?
I'm not sure.
I
may have heard the name.
I first stumbled upon her in my feed somewhere, and I took notice because the girl's got the eyebrows. You know what I'm talking about. Those eyebrows.
Okay.
And turns out she's still a teenager. She's like 17 or 18. And she is doing kind of like, I would say, what Trent Reznor's girlfriend would have done when Trent was like, in high school.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Basically, let's put it this way. Trent Reznor as a girl in high school is this.
Okay.
Not, Pretty Hate Machine there was some anger in it, but it had its quiet moments as well. Unlike, subsequent stuff where it got really, revolting Cox angry type stuff. And she's doing some very minimalist electronic. The song that captured me was You Should See Me in a Crown.
Okay.
The video essentially has spiders crawling all over her in a crown on her body. And in one place, you see her, she's just looking at you, and then she opens her mouth, and a big spider comes out. And from what I understand, this chick be dark. She's like the goth Kate Bush.
Oh my God.
With, she said, yeah, let's go ahead and put a spider in my mouth. I haven't read that anywhere, but I can just sense that that's like.
You can tell if it's CG or not, usually.
Yeah, I did not notice CG at all.
Yeah.
But, what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm only human. And I watched one interview she did for BBC Radio. They filmed it.
Okay.
And the guy asked her about one of your earlier songs, and that no one's heard before. Well, there's one it was really, really dark, and I wrote when I was 12 called Why Not. And then all of a sudden she looks off camera and goes, oh, my mom says I can't talk about that song. Well, okay, so it's just okay. Nope, she's shaking her head. I can't talk about that. And I'm like going, holy fuck. If that's true, this chick was dark as fuck from 12 years old. So we'll see.
All right.
So we'll see. Her, much like Sigrid, they are both attractive, but they are not putting out the booty shakes or nothing like that.
It's not about that.
It's not about that. And I'm like, thank fucking
Yeah.
God. Sigrid is very attractive, but 9 times out of 10, she's in jeans, a shirt.
Well, she's
with
just a musician.
with her hair
so-
pulled back, and like there was one video where she actually had makeup on. I went, ew, oh, it's because she's wearing makeup. Normally she's just, she's Noxzema fresh face.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, you're not being micromanaged.
Marketed.
You're not being, well, she is being marketed, but I'm guessing she's being marketed as her.
As her and her
Right,
music,
right.
which is good.
Right.
There's plenty of
Let's put it this
plastic-
way. There's plenty of Britney Spears and
and there's a place for that. That's all fine, but
Yeah.
that doesn't have to be everybody.
Exactly.
And you'll get more quality possibly out of letting someone be themselves and just
Well, it depends on who's the creative force.
Yeah.
With Britney Spears, I haven't looked at her credits, but I'm willing to bet she probably hasn't co-wrote or wrote hardly anything on
Probably
any of her
anything.
albums.
Right.
Whereas Sigrid at least co-writes everything.
Yeah.
In fact, she even has one of her big hits is called Don't Kill My Vibe, which is about the time that the record label tried to pair her up with some super, songwriter.
Uh-huh.
And he condescended to her. He played mind games with her. He basically treated her like a child.
Uh-huh.
And she said, fuck off, and then came and wrote this song. And it's, it's brutal
Nice.
to this person.
Nice, nice.
And as a class act, she doesn't say who it is.
Right.
Not in the song, obviously, but not in interviews, because she's been asked a couple times about that. Like, just being frustrated with someone the label tried to pair me up with. Obviously, no other outside people outside of Norway, appear on her song credits. So that tells me that just didn't work out. It wasn't just that person. She just doesn't write with outside people.
Good.
She has her people.
Right.
So, and she is beloved in England. She played, I want to say Reading. It was the Reading Festival, one of the big festivals over there. And people were going crazy. There was a guy with his shirt off saying, "Marry me, Sigrid." And she's singing, and at a break, she goes, "I see you," and goes right back to the song. The guy's like, "Ah, oh my God." So it's fun. So if you want to hear, the 3.5 minute, just killer pop songs, Sigrid. If you want to get weird and somewhat entertained and somewhat compelling, Billie Eilish. Her new album just dropped, I think, this week.
Oh, okay.
Called something like, was it "Where Do We Go When We Sleep?" or "When We Sleep, Where Do We Go?" or something like that.
Okay.
So she's fascinated by what happens to us when we sleep. I'm like, I'm guessing you pass the fuck out and you lie there until you wake up again. But she seems to think there's more to it than that.
Okay.
And of course, spiders in the mouth, dark writing at 12 tells me she probably has some ideas about where we go.
Yeah.
And have you heard about this little indie film that has been kicking the booty everywhere? Us.
I've heard of it, yes.
I am thrilled.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I am thrilled. I was like, oh man, he's never going to be able to top Get Out. And he probably won't.
From what I hear, it's it's really good, but it's not quite as good as, or it's
a different animal.
It's a different animal.
I mean, he's not remaking Don't Get Out, so it's apples and oranges, but it's the next in line. And it's a huge success. People are loving it. So much so that already within 2 weeks of release, SNL already parodied it. Now, I don't, if people don't know, Us, apparently, I have not seen it. It's about a family on vacation that is terrorized by doppelgangers of themselves in weird...
The trailer, I saw the trailer in the theater on a big giant screen, and I was like, what the
heck is going on? Well, SNL, those commercials... was it with Discover Card? We treat you like you. So they called up, hey, there's some charges on my credit card for red jumpsuits and knives and bunny rabbits. And it's that person. I can help you. I'm like, holy fuck. Because I thought that was weird. It's like you call up and you talk to yourself on those Discover commercials. Like, whoever's in the writing room that came up with that, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I liked I like Jordan Peele's statement where he just said, I don't really ever see me
casting a white person
or like writing, having a white person as a lead, a white guy as a lead. And I'm like, good. We don't need that.
It's like, oh no,
you do what you do.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we need that. There's not enough of that.
Exactly. Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, unless a story calls for a person to be white for some reason, why make them white?
Yeah, my friend saw it and he said, "Well, now Black Panther's fucked with me because now I'm not going to be able to see M'Baku from Wakanda other than this guy."
Yeah. Speaking of which, of the Marvel universe, Captain Marvel is still doing pretty decent numbers.
Yeah.
So, well done. You remember I was kind of, lukewarm on it. It was okay. It was fun. Big points for Space Invaders Pinball on Marvel's ship. But another bit of news came in this week.
Okay.
About Endgame.
Oh, the runtime.
Yeah, they're saying it's going to be right at about 3 hours.
3 hours, which, to be honest, give me every second of it. I mean, I'll prepare and not drink too much water before I go to the theater.
See, that's the kind of thing.
Because I cannot get up and go.
My ass starts falling asleep at about 2 hours. So another hour after that, I'm going to have to, I don't know, get a donut and a catheter, ready. Because remember, back in the old days, what was Sound of Music was like 2.5 hours.
Oh, Gone with the Wind is like almost 4, I think. So was The Godfather.
They would give you an intermission.
Yes.
You have 10 minutes. They even have a theme for intermission.
Yep.
Now, go fuck yourself. We're showing it.
Yeah, we're already losing screenings because of the runtime.
Well, that's the thing they're talking about, is that the reason a lot of movie studios don't want to release such long films is because it depresses opening box office, because you can only show it so many times per theater.
What they're going to do
they're going to open up to multiple theater screens.
Not even, and they're going to show all night long. They're going to do like they did with was it Force Awakens or one of the big movies?
Oh, where you could go at like 1 a.m. and I guess
they
I'm
ran
up.
it 24/7, and that's what they're going to do. They're still going to make all the money.
Yes.
Rumor has it that the tickets will be on sale. We're recording this Sunday. This will be released Tuesday, so it'll be today, Tuesday. That's when Endgame tickets are finally going to go on sale.
All right.
So just, be prepared, everybody, for the internet to melt on Tuesday.
I mean, I don't need to see it opening weekend. I'm going to.
Yes.
But it's like I don't need, because it'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
Now the final episode of this Star Wars trilogy, I need to.
Yes.
That's like a Thursday evening.
I'll pay whatever premium has to be for that
gotta
Thursday
see that.
6 o'clock show.
Right, because if anybody spoils shit for me, I'm going to jail for murder.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I mean, I think there's going to be more anticipation for Endgame than for this, for episode 9. I mean, episode 9 is going to be a nice big wrap up, but I mean, there's not as much. I mean, there is, but I think there's just like Endgame is 10 movies leading up to there, and we just had Infinity War and such a huge cliffhanger.
8 movies leading up to to Star Wars,
but 8 movies over 40 years, as opposed to we've been on this roller coaster of.
Has it been like 15
10 years?
Oh, it hasn't been 10 years.
Yeah, Marvel 10
since the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been like 15 or so.
Yeah, if you look at the Marvel Studios, the IO is 10 on their logo for I guess last year it was. So
I wonder if they're going to pull a comic book thing at some point and go, everything's rebooted. Boom. New Iron Man, new everything starting. We're not going to continue the universe. We're going to
Phase 4 is going to be different, they're saying.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm talking about a complete wholesale reboot. Everybody swept aside. We go back to OG or original everybody. Not original, but I mean...
Like recast and reboot?
Right. Recast, reboot.
Well, considering the fact that they now own Fox and they got a shit ton of their characters back, they've got one of the crown jewels. They've got Fantastic Four back, and they can finally do it right.
I wouldn't say. I mean, if they can do it right, it can become a crown jewel.
Well,
it has a lot of potential.
In comic world, it is one of their crown jewels, without a doubt.
All right,
it is
well-
one of the building blocks of Marvel Comics.
But it has not been done for
No, it
shit.
has not been done well at all, ever. And now that Feige can finally get his hands on it, they can probably finally do it right.
All right. Well,
But I mean, they could reboot it and do it the proper way and have all these characters and the X-Men. They're getting the X-Men back.
yeah.
So that's a whole other thing. Can you imagine, like, if they would have had it and Hugh Jackman and Tony and Robert Downey Jr. going at it and stuff?
Well, now, now that they're all under one, complete roof and with some synergy, maybe we might actually get maybe a, something with Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, we got that little cameo at the end there.
Yes.
But I don't know if that was actually an outtake.
Mm-hmm.
That he wasn't actually, they used an outtake from whatever.
Oh, it was from it was from the first Wolverine movie.
Right.
It was from
fuck off or whatever.
I mean, that was a clip out of that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just inserted him into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about some back and forth. But I mean, Hugh Jackman said, "I'm done."
Yeah.
Logan was the end, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because Logan, I finally saw Logan.
Oh yeah. What'd you think?
Not bad.
Yeah, it's a good flick.
That's
It's a
good.
good, intense flick.
R rated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
They did and I don't know if you know this, they did a black and white version of it. Like, they released it.
Oh,
in
that film could definitely work in black
They did a
and white.
noir release of it. Yeah, you can find it. It's I've watched a little bit of it, and it's like, wow, that works. It makes it really.
Which, for you kids at home, you can do that just on your TV. Turn off the color and go to black and white. You can turn anything into noir.
Huh.
You
I
know?
didn't think of that.
I mean, hell, Aliens would probably be interesting as a noir.
Oof, interesting.
Just those little narrow, drippy corridors and stuff like that.
My favorite internet thing that people are trying to get to happen that won't happen for Endgame is that they want Michael Pena's character from Ant-Man to do an entire wrap-up of the Marvel Universe, like the way he does it in Ant-Man, up to that far. How amazing would that be,
Ooh.
And then this guy with the iron suit, and he did this thing with my cousin, and this, something like that. Because those bits in those movies are so fucking hilarious.
That actually... Yeah, that actually could be... Now, the one thing that I've heard that people are screaming for, and you know what? Feige just might do it. Now that Fox has come over...
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it.
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I do.
All right, well, I'm going to say
Go
it
ahead and
for
say it
all the
again.
kids out there.
Yeah.
You think you're done with the end credit scenes, and then at the very end, all of a sudden, Deadpool shows up and says, "All right, guys, let's..." Oh, man, it's over? What the ass? That merger took forever.
Yes. Well, either that or the other thing is they want Deadpool to do all the Stan Lee cameos, like in the Deadpool costume with glasses and a mustache, pretending to be Stan Lee.
Oh, well, hey, there's nothing that said that Stan Lee hasn't already shot his cameos for Endgame.
He has.
Yeah.
That's confirmed. They said that already.
They said, all right.
Captain Marvel and Endgame. They didn't say further than that, but they did say that's 100%
Well,
locked in.
considering how they arc things, Feige probably knows at least a scene that, if he was smart, he shot a couple of, of just random...
I had heard, there was rumors 2-3 years ago that they shot like 9 cameos.
Okay.
Like to bank him because they knew he was getting old. And one of the sad things I heard was that Stan's cameo from in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Stan was not well, obviously. He was in bad shape, and Kevin Smith knew about it. They had to ask him about it, and his actual dialogue is an outtake from Mallrats. Yeah, it's some of the actual different audio footage.
Well, because he was reading Mallrats on the bus.
Exactly. So they were like, "Look, we didn't want to spoil this for you, but we wanted to see if you had that, any outtakes of his dialogue from that movie." And he's like, "I don't, but somebody does, and I will fucking find it." So he helped that. So
so that's actual audio.
Yes, that's old audio from. That's what I mean. He couldn't really. He didn't sound like him, and he was sick and everything. So they got that. So
Captain Marvel's been in the works for a bit, so if they had to reach for just that,
Yeah.
we may be at the end of Endgame may be the end.
And I think rightfully so. I mean, that would
fine.
It would be fine,
Quite frankly, I'd be happy if he had cameos for the next 30 years if they made it happen.
Right.
But let's not.
But now that he's gone, let's not.
Yeah. Well, let's not do a CGI Stan Lee in every film. No.
I mean, what they did with the Marvel logo at the top of Captain Marvel was a gorgeous, heartbreaking tribute. It was wonderful. But if we get him in Endgame in one little bit and then move on, we're good. Let him rest. So
yeah. Poor Stan.
And speaking of the other side of the aisle, we are currently celebrating the 80th anniversary of Batman this year.
He's old.
He's old, yeah, and still spry. The funny thing was they said Batman Beyond, which is new Batman in a high tech suit and old Bruce Wayne in the cave being Oracle took place in 2019. So this is the year he gives up being Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
In the comics.
Now we're apparently in the final episodes of Gotham. They're gonna have is still way too young, but I mean the series is ending, so if they just show him at the last minute,
that's what they're
putting on the suit and just kind of and leave it there, okay.
There's a promo shot of the back of the
exactly.
cowl.
We don't want to see. Essentially, I'm sure he's probably in his 20s by now, or maybe late teens. We don't want to see a teenager in the bat suit, kicking ass and fighting around. But if they just show something artistic at the very end,
that's what they did with Smallville. You never really saw him in the suit. You saw him open up his shirt and have the S, and then it was like a faraway CGI shot of him flying in the suit, and that was it. And it was like, really?
I sat through the entire of the annoying. I can't tell Lana. Lana must never know, even though all this other freaky shit's happening.
Even though she was a witch and a werewolf and an alien and all this other shit that happened.
Yeah, but she would never believe that I'm super.
Because of all the other crazy shit that went down.
That would come out of nowhere.
Made me crazy.
She couldn't handle that.
I had to give up. I gave up. I came back for the last 3 or 4.
Hoping that we were going to get
just to see
Michael Rosenbaum back as Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And Lex came back, but they did it in a way.
It was a weird thing.
It was from the back, and
yeah.
I don't think he came back for it. I think he walked, and that was the end of that.
Probably.
And of course,
although
good for him, he's gone on to.
He's still around. He's doing stuff. But it was really funny because at DragonCon last year they were both there, Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, and they were just fucking with each other the entire time. Rosenbaum kept running over to his table and throwing shit at him and jumping on him. And it was great because and he would run back away. And I may have said this when I talked about DragonCon, but my favorite thing about one of my favorite guests that was in the Walk of Fame this year was Benedict Wong, who plays Wong in Doctor Strange, because he was blaring Led Zeppelin at his table and just dancing with everybody who came up. It was amazing.
It's always nice when you go through the the gallery there and you see stars that are at least not there grudgingly. In some cases, they're there happily.
Yeah.
Because
you can tell.
You can tell sometimes
here to make some money.
I'm going to make some money and I don't give a crap. And I did that fucking movie 30 years ago, but people still want to see me. Whatever.
Yeah.
And to that I say, the person begrudging your hit film, your hit song, whatever. There are people that would die to have just that are still, that are working musicians, actors, or whatever. So obviously, don't buy into your own hype, but don't shit on something that you did that people
don't go
love.
Yeah.
If it's that offensive to you, don't show up.
Yeah,
don't sign up for these things.
And don't show up and overcharge people for your shit,
Or if you overcharge, be very accommodating and nice. Because if you're a dick and you're overcharging, that's a way to,
And speaking of kind of all of what we've just been talking about, I don't know if I told you, but finally, July, I want to say 31st of the summer, Atlanta Comic-Con is happening, which is a smaller con that goes on. There's a bunch of them now. There's that Heroes and Villains thing, and Atlanta Comic-Con, and a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Finally, guess who's coming to Atlanta Comic-Con?
I don't know, the entire cast of Firefly.
Yep. Well, Adam Baldwin is coming, but finally, I'm going to get to meet Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
Batman is finally coming to Atlanta.
Wasn't he supposed to come to DragonCon but then had to back out for some reason?
I don't remember. No, I don't believe so.
No?
Because I
Okay.
would have lost my fucking mind if he did that. No, he's finally signed up. He must have a deal with, quote, Comic-Con International or whatever, because he does San Diego, obviously, but he does like New York and stuff.
Yeah, everybody does San Diego.
Everybody does San Diego. And New York is getting real big, too, from what I hear.
I hear they have a few people in that city to actually go to these things.
They do, but I mean, they've actually branched out and had in Atlanta, New York. A friend of mine is gone, and he's like, yeah, it's nuts. You can't get in there, you know. But I'm very excited to. There's a couple other people on that bill. A guy named James Arnold Taylor, who is another voice guy who does he does Obi-Wan on the Clone Wars and the Star Wars cartoons. So he does a really good Ewan McGregor.
I saw your favorite voiceover artist on Better Things, Cree Summer.
Oh yeah, Cree is pretty great.
She showed up in an episode of Better Things, drinking margaritas with Pamela Adlon and hitting on the half their age.
Yeah, well, and Pam Adlon did a whole lot of voiceover stuff.
Oh, she's
Bobby Hill.
Hey, that's my purse.
Yep, that's my purse. And speaking of that, was it 2 weekends ago? Phil Lamar from Futurama and Justice League. He was here at Dad's Garage.
That's what I tell you. Dad's is really stepping up the game.
They're really pulling people in.
When you get Hermie to show up.
Yep. And he was great. I got to watch one of the shows, and he was just having a blast with it.
Now, you know what I found out?
Yes.
Do you remember the movie Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
Do you remember Marvin?
Yes. I know very well. Yeah.
I did not know that
a lot of
that was
people did.
him.
Yes, a lot of people did.
That was brought to my attention. I went, oh man, what they did, they blew your brains out.
Yep.
I mean, they sprayed you everywhere.
Must have hit a bump.
Wow. The fact that Travolta's character was so nonchalant, whoops, well, you know, I believe I've spilled some rosé upon your upholstery. Whoops.
Yeah.
You know, no problem there. And then it goes directly to the scene where Tarantino says, all right, it's my character, so I get to use the N-word a number of times.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, no, it's in with the character, I suppose, but just... All right, well,
Yeah.
do what you're gonna do, I suppose, and let history judge you.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, Dad's Garage is really stepping it up. You know, they're basically. I had talked with Kevin about this a couple of years, about a year ago, and said, you know, you guys are, you know, you got Upright Citizens Brigade, you've got Second City, you've got what's the one out in Los Angeles, Groundlings.
Yep.
And you guys are right up in there.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, not yet, but that's the plan. We're gonna get in there.
And I mean, like Colin Mockery's coming back. Colin comes 2, 3, 4 times a year.
Yep.
And pro tip: if you want to like run into Colin Mockery somewhere, wait till Dad. You know. Go to Dad's Garage.
Obviously.
Go to the shows. Go to the Euclid Yacht Club. And afterwards, they'll all be hanging out there.
Yep.
Having a drink, closing the place down.
It's a bit more of a drive than it used to be when they were at 7 Stages. But
it's not across the street anymore.
No, not
but
across the street.
It's about a mile away.
Yeah, basically in Atlanta, folks who are not living here, the Atlanta Yacht Club, or the Yacht Club as we call it.
It's just a bar. There is no. It's not a. We don't have a marina
has
here.
Nothing to do with maritime anything. I wouldn't quite call it a dive bar. It's maybe one step up from a dive bar.
It's a neighborhood bar.
It's a neighborhood bar.
It's a nice
with
dark
with a bit of dive to it, but not
the perfect amount of dive.
Exactly.
The dank, Mo. The dank.
Dank. Speaking of Dad's Garage, in line with their bringing in quality, guests to come in, there is one one female comedian that I think, or actress comedian that I think would be amazing.
Okay.
They should bring in...
Medication time. Medication time.
Oh, we run out of time. I will tell you next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bowman, with Abdul Benny Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lerner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the Office of Howard and Fine. Evidently, Mr. Ed is my new co-host on this show. Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Jack Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube, stream on Spotify, listen on SoundCloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bowman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ.
Audio Primate.